Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Comics Discourse 114. I'm one of your hosts, Brian Newberry,
I'm Brian Clark.
And I'm Hassan.
and it's that time of the month where we're at our monthly spotlight, and our friend Frank has returned. What's up, Frank?
Hey, I'm Frank. Thanks for having me,
Yeah.
guys. Appreciate it.
We are continuing with Witch Hat Atelier until further notice. I don't know how long we're going. There's 14 volumes. We are not going that far. But tonight we're picking up partway through through volume two, which is really chapter eight. We're going to try to get through all of volume two and three. Um, Hassan, you seem to be enjoying this more as we're getting into it. You're in your side discussions with me. Am I feeling that right?
That's odd to call it a side conversation.
Yeah,
But
not show
yeah.
conversations on air. Yes.
So yes, I really thought that volume three picked up the story and the plot and the characters and advanced it to a point where I'm more interested. And there's no offense, like I like volumes one and two, but it's intro. It's just setting up, your volume one, especially volume one, was just setting up the premise, setting up the main characters. And so there's a lot of like getting to know the characters, but things get really interesting starting with volume three. So yes, I enjoyed volume three a lot more than volumes one and two, even though I did enjoy those. I still think the art is incredible. The details around the art, the characters, the outfits, the backgrounds, it's unbelievable. It's freaking unbelievable.
Brian and Frank, if I am not mistaken, you two got some fancy special edition of these three volumes, and did you not?
Just fancy pants Brian so far. I'm still waiting on my monthly shipment to kick in, so I just jealously stare at his copy.
So,
I've
Brian, tell
got
us about this Grimoire edition.
yeah, so first three volumes, super nice. It's got like gold leafing all around it, art everywhere, and some supplementary material, including maps. I know you guys are wild about a map. Um, it's got all the sigil
Oversized
stuff.
too, isn't it?
Yes, it is oversized. It's got interviews with the mangaka. It's got information about the characters, like brush buddies, and lots of concept art. And as Hassan just mentioned, this art rules, so you're gonna see tons of extra awesome art in the back. Uh, I it's so good. I just tore through it in like a day and read the entire thing.
Yeah, I did not order it, and I looked on Amazon after you guys were taunting me with it a couple days ago, and they are sold out until like the middle of the month. And I was like, I'm not going to order
When?
this and then reread the first three volumes that I've just read for the show. So we'll
Just wait
see.
till
I'll probably
volume
catch it
two
on
comes
sale.
out and then get it,
Yes.
and then you can get one and reread it
Yeah.
all again. It's a very good reread.
Agreed.
Um, well, I will say to this point, we are up to episode six of the anime. Are y'all watching or not watching? Where you at?
I'm watching. I just started four. I was trying to get through four before we started this evening, and my wife called halfway through the episode to bitch about something at work. So that's as far as I got.
She casts a spell on you to make you stop watching
Yes, the spell of interruption works every
it.
time.
I have watched all of it but the last episode, the most recent one.
Awesome.
I am not watching it at all. I
For
would
some
say
reason, I thought you said you'd watched the first episode, but I could
no,
maybe I
no, I
missed that.
didn't. I don't
Okay.
have Crunchyroll, so I will have to subscribe to it if I want to watch it. And I have a laundry list of animated TV shows I have yet to watch. So the probability of me watching it is low to slim.
All right. I got a dog on that for a second, though. I will say, as much as I like this anime or this manga, I think the anime is really additive. Um, the color, none of this has color except on some chapter pages every couple volumes. And the color of that show is really adding to the story to me as well. Especially so. Episode 6 is the one that's right out right now, and it's funny enough, it is where we are starting. Chitsek actually starts with chapter 8 of the manga. Um, we talked about when Coco cast a spell and it affected her mother, you could really see what it was. It was crystal and stuff, and in the manga, it's really hard to tell what it is. And there's a couple spells that's happening too throughout. Like Agott casts a spell here in this chapter where you can't really see what's happening, but in the anime, it really is clear what she's doing. She's casting like a light spell that it's not working that well, and just that add with the color really does help to me at least. But Frank's like, I'm colorblind. I can't see the shit anyway.
Pretty black and white colors. Uh, I do agree. I thought it was cool, like when they do the levitation shoes, the self shoes, or however you pronounce it. Like that color effect looked really cool. It made it pop off the page.
Awesome. This is almost Miyazaki level animation. Like
Oh, really?
not just like normal everyday manga or anime animation.
Yeah, I think it was like I mentioned last time, like their outfits are so detailed. Like when you first start reading this manga, you're like, oh my God, this artist has got to be killing themselves to draw all these outfits. And then you see it animated, and you're like, holy shit, this is insane. Like if I was this is why I don't have a manga because everybody would just be wearing a square.
I do,
All
I
right.
do, I do miss the lack of color. I mean, that would have been make the book even better because I do think the like with all the details, the color. Were I mean, most manga doesn't have color, so. Um,
Even the color
but
pages in that grimoire look cool from, I think Brian, you or Rick took pictures of it, and I was like, those look really good. I wish that was like on every page.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a hit or miss. Like sometimes I feel like it's just different and like the black and white nature of manga to me I think makes me just enjoy it differently. Um and they almost all of them start in color, then they fade into like black and white. And I always think that's like an interesting transition. But most manga that you like that's pretty popular these days, there's gonna be an anime adaptation and you'll get to see it both ways. So that's cool.
Only they could do a good one of Berserk, but no, haven't got
Yeah.
that yet.
Yeah, I feel like maybe one day it'll do that.
We'll get the remaster one of these days.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hit it off with chapter 8 and 9. Before we got on here, Frank mentioned there is a companion anime or manga to this. What's it called?
Just Witch Hat Atelier Kitchen.
Yeah. And this is kind of, I feel like where that came from. The first chapter here we're talking about, it's after all the events with the dragon. It's kind of a low-key character chapter or two, and Qifrey is really teaching Coco about magic through cooking. And I thought it was a fun way because he's like, you have to practice this stuff, so practice it in practical ways. And here's some crazy shit you can do with magic for cooking, and it helps with your fire spell. And oh, I made this stew like 2 years ago. Take a bite of it. It's still fresh. And she like freaks out and gets like the pukey face, but she after he tells her that, but she thought it was delicious. Like it's a lot of that and her practicing her skills through cooking and the other girls except for Agott coming in and helping and eating as well. And Agott is still comes off very poorly. For Brian and Frank, how do you feel about Agott in the manga versus the anime? Like the show is almost a straight adaptation, but I feel like she comes off so different between the two.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe even more a little more harsh in the manga, at least from my point of view. She's still super unlikable.
Yeah.
Definitely intentionally so, but yeah, I don't know. I think like color adds a lot to that as well. You know, like you get the visualization of kind of just how like dark and dour she can be. And I think the manga accentuates that over the anime.
Feel like the tone of her voice and the way it's delivered made a big difference in how I perceive her. In the anime, she does still come off like an ass, but she still is like seems more focused and just wants to be left alone. And in here, she seems like a purposeful, just complete asshole. And now that at times she still is like she threw Coco through the portal and all that, but it's it's I feel like it's she gets more character development later in the manga that makes her not come off as this bad, but at the first she comes off just horrible to me.
Yeah, I mean, her voice is much different in the anime compared to the other three characters. They're also very colorful, and she's not. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's since I have read like all the way through volume 14, like she doesn't bother me that much because I get why she's like that.
Yeah.
And that's part of her development is she she wants to be a magician like right away, and they're like, you can't just it can't just be that way. Like she has some innate skill for sure. This is where Qifrey gets to be a good mentor.
Yeah, and Hassan hasn't got there yet, so I don't want to spoil too much, but I agree with Brian. Like we do get why she's like this, and it's not just she just wants to hurry up. There's legitimate reasons, but she is very, very driven.
Well, it's
Well,
like I would say Coco is not that dissimilar, where she's just like so reckless because she just wants to get there so she can save her mom, but she gets a lot of passes from Kifrey because she's like adorable, and he's just like, "Oh, you almost burn everybody down. You almost like ruin all this. You ruin her shoes." Like, and they're like, "Oh, you're so cute."
I think Agott actually brings something to the book that without her, I think the book would be less interesting, and like it brings more complexity to the characters by having her, because you don't want her, all the other students were like, oh, welcoming her, so Coco. So I feel like actually, why you don't necessarily like her, I don't. I feel like she's necessary for the story to make the book more interesting, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
like
can't be
her as a
all
character, as a
cutesy, right?
conflict. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I would say you're absolutely correct. Like it can't just be all, cutesy and happy Coco the entire time. And I'm not current with the manga, so I'm not sure, how they're handling this right now at the stage of them. But there's some like interesting foreshadowing at this stage of the story with Agott that she comes off kind of sinister at times as well. Like you don't really know what her motivations are or why she acts the way she does, and it's kind of a nice it's like a nice layer of the story that until you do actually find out what her character's all about, that you don't really trust her at all.
Well, we get a new character that is actually living at the atelier that we have not seen until this chapter pop up, and he is the watchful eye at the at the atelier, and you're like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm still not even clear what that means. He's a dude like when the witches are training at ateliers and not the main big witch fortress. I guess they just don't want. This sounds creepy, but it kind of is.
It
They
is
don't want
creepy.
to. They don't want a guy watching little children by himself,
No, it's
so
the
they
Aunt
have a
Harriet.
watchful eye. So
It's
they
like
send another dude.
he's the
It
Aunt
doesn't make
Harriet of the group. Because that's what they did. DC introduced Aunt Harriet because, well, people just thought it was weird that Batman and Robin were living together by themselves.
and wearing tights and
Yeah.
jumping down poles.
Um, by the way, the character looks like the guy that was in Clerks, the movie Clerks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is a little
yeah,
greasy looking. Yeah.
he is. He
yeah.
is.
Well, his name is
That's my day
Olivia,
off.
and he's been gone the entire time that Coco's been here, and he is mad that Kiefer brought in a new apprentice and um, didn't tell him. And then he finds out that she's the one that all the witches are gossiping about, the outsider that's been brought in. And he's demanding that Qifrey takes her to the Knights Moralis and wipes her mind immediately. Like he is adversarial from the start, which is not good because he's pretty well Kiefer's boyfriend. Let's just put that out there. Hassan's just like shaking his head. It is very subtextual, but it
you
is
could
there, damn
you
it.
could say
It
I'm
is
just
there.
saying you could say it, I cannot.
Uh, as Frank said, that witch hat cookbook.
Spicy. Super spicy.
There-
Oh, but
There's never
Kiefer
any shenanigans happening in magical worlds.
But if he's supposed to be
never.
the watchful eye, making where was he all this time? Like he's not doing a great enough
Exactly.
job.
No, he's a layabout. We find out more about his personality and what he does as it goes along. But
He likes to
um,
drink. He likes to tie one on every once in a while. So he's
yep.
passed out
And
under
he
a bridge
makes
somewhere.
he makes a ton of magical contraptions. As we know, those are what do magic for everybody. Um, he's actually the one that made the stones that glow that made Coco fall in love with magic. And after he and Qifrey fight, you know, Qifrey's like she's staying, and he bends, but Olrugio is talking to Coco, and she expresses just how much she loves the magic that he created, and he wins. She wins him over. Um, but he's even just in these few chapters, we see all these contraptions he's made. He's got all these rings that do different stuff, one of which dries them off completely from the rain and warms her up. We find out he made the stones that glow. Later chapters, there's a whole fair every year where witches bring their contraptions that they've made, and he's one of the big inventors of things. Um, During all this, though, Agott is not around, and she's practicing some spells and really just trying to push herself. And we see that she's not she's messing up, and she is super hard on herself when she messes up. Like she has high standards for everybody, but I think more so for herself than anybody else around her. So she's an ass to other people, but she's also an ass to herself. Um, but at the end of this, for the rest of this volume, it is the storm that is happening has washed out a bridge and trapped some people. And the entire rest of the story is the villagers have come to the atelier asking for help. And Qifrey and Olrugio are going to go help, but Agott is begging to. And she hasn't passed the test yet that allows her to do magic outside with her in the presence of other people that aren't witches. So she's allowed to help her master if she passes the other test outside in the world. Whereas right now they're only supposed to be doing stuff at the atelier and under his supervision. She's close to taking the test, but she's not there yet. But she begs him, um, and he caves, and she goes with them. But of course, Coco and the others do as well. Um, but during all this, the one of the wagons falls and this boy gets trapped called Custis. And he seems like a minor character and that you're never going to see again, but he's actually big to the overall storyline. Spoilers,
Dang.
Hassan.
It's always wild to see this little crushed kid
Yes. A
become
rock
something.
falls on him, crushes his legs. While Rugio and Qifrey are out trying to save other people, and it's just stuck with Agott and Coco to try to save him. But their magic's limited. They don't know how to just do stuff in the background. So Coco climbs down there to try to save him, and Agott distracts everybody with this giant water dragon like Qifrey um,
I will
created
say there was one thing
last
that I thought
volume.
was weird is like Coco goes down there and she's instantly stuck. Like I was like, what happened? Like she's just like, I'm stuck, I can't move. And I was like, what did you do?
Well, they're trying to. Agott's also summoning that dragon to try to get Qifrey and Orugio's attention so they can come help. But the water's rising and this kid's going to drown soon if Coco can't figure out how to save him. Um, she got has distracted everybody, but Coco's like, I don't know what to do. And then her all of her equipment gets wet and she doesn't have her pen or her ink and all of that. Um, she does end up using the spell that ground up the wall from the maze on the rock. Like we think they kind of make us think that something happened to her, that they died. Well, they're not. Um, but she uses that and saves the boy, but some bad shit happens. The Knights Moralis come up because they knew they were coming to help save everybody, and they see the dragon that Agott cast, and they trap Coco and Agott, and they're about to erase Coco's memory because the spell she cast went out of control. She just drew a tiny little seal, which should have just made that rock crumble some. Well, it got so out of control that it caused all the ground everywhere around it to start turning to dust, even evaporating the water. Like it is super crazy out of control. And they're like, no way this little girl could have done that. She doesn't even know what she's doing. She doesn't have that type of magical power. But one of these knights is really an asshole.
Oh, I was going to say
And
Dick, but okay.
well, close, yeah, dick asshole. um, and
Richard.
he's just gonna erase her memory like right away. He's like, yeah, no, you fucked up. You don't deserve magic, and no trial, no nothing. Judge dreading it, he is the law, and right, he has the seal, and he's about to put it to her head when the other girls come and actually attack the Knights Moralis, Rishi and Pita, which is kind of crazy that these girls are holding their own against them for at least a couple minutes until Qifrey comes up and he has it out and he knows this head knight and they have some sort of history. I'm assuming it's an ex-boyfriend. Um,
Especially dressed
which
that fancy.
I
Yeah, nice
know,
dress,
like
buddy.
these outfits are, they're flying around with pennants that they're swirling in the air, like,
Twirling his baton.
Yeah,
uh-huh,
giant wings on his hat.
on his hat, all of it. Um, Yeah, that is their main magical weapon is the Knights Moralis control these pennant flags that kind of do their bidding like Wonder Woman's lasso. Um,
It's like Spawn's cape.
yeah, let's make them a little more manly at least.
This is full. Most of this is inspired by Spawn. You can tell.
Absolutely.
One part I did like though is the dude is explaining like how bad she's effed up, and we tie back to that Dada range, and he, you know, when we were just reading
Yeah,
the I just thought, oh, it's a cool little magical area. And this guy's explaining, like, no, that formed because magicians fucked up. And now you got all these floating islands in the coast.
I thought that was a really cool little piece, and the panel that describes that is awesome. It's an old
Yeah.
grimoire too, uh, and because you are like you see that at first, and you're like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. This is why is there floating balls everywhere?
Oh, but this guy is all about hunting the brim caps and he's pissed off at Kiefery, all of it. And I think it's funny that the girls just have it out with him and like they're all yelling while the girls go down and actually help people. Like all these people are actually suffering, the people that are not witches. Um, and the girls are the ones that take the lead into saving people. And that kid that had his legs crushed, Eustace, his dad is begging one of the witches to use magic to heal him, and she says, "We don't. Magic can't do that." As a reader and as the people that are the witches in here, it can. They're just not allowed to because they can't use magic on a person because that's what the brim caps do. So I do kind of like that you kind of see the other side. The brim caps are supposed to be the bad people, but are they really? Like some of them, as this go on, do horrible things, but some of the stuff that magic isn't allowed to do is kind of arbitrary at this point. Like it's gone too far. Like you could still heal people, but you don't have to, manipulate their minds or torture them. And I do think
Well,
there's a point on that.
and they also say you can't do this, you can't do that, but they do it. They do it themselves, right? They're
Only
like,
certain people can. The law
well,
can.
I meant like they like to your point. And we're gonna hear about. We're gonna talk about later. A drop of hat. Oh, I'm gonna make you forget. Like do that like a drop of a hat. Oh, you said something to me. Drop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you forget. What?
But you're dying. Sorry. You're we can't fix that.
Yeah.
Got a cold. Sorry.
It's like Men in Black.
Still no.
Staring at this
Oh,
dildo.
but the dude makes Coco draw what the spell she used, and he's like, "Yeah, it's normal. It shouldn't have done that. There's nothing. It's straight out of the, you know, elementary school primer. You didn't do anything special. How did this happen?" Um, does turn out though that Qifrey starts to put some pieces together. Um, but he is so proud of Agott that he does let her tell her that she can take the next test, and she is super excited. And Augurio, it's like, I thought you weren't gonna let her do that. Like she's needs to learn patience. And he's like, it does disturb me, but only when it isolates her. And this time she was working with her friends and other people and actually did what she should have done instead of isolating herself and just being alone all the time. So she is growing in the way he wants to see it. Um, but Kiefery does take the little bottle of ink that um, Coco has and thinks there's something up with it. And of course there is, because we get a little cutaway panel at the end of this chapter with that brim cap that's been following her, the one that gave her her grimoire. And they're sitting on like a rock somewhere completely isolated on a coast, slice open their hand and bleed into a bottle that looks exactly like Coco's. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Nothing to see here. Moving along.
Yeah, yeah, nothing at all. Um, this little brim cap keeps popping up every couple chapters. Like,
And,
and
and looks like very creepy, but like
yeah,
it's like you just stare. Like I just stare at that character because they're so strange. Every time they pop up, I'm like, what is going on here?
all the brim caps are weird.
Yeah.
I like their designs.
Yeah, their design's awesome. Super sinister and mysterious.
Well, what happened, when she left the dragon area, this brim cap caught Coco and said something about planting a seed. And reading these all back to back again, it's like, oh, that's what happened. Well, I'm going to kind of cut to the chase here a little bit. The brim cap put that bottle of ink on Coco, kind of replaced the one she had with that. And Coco's never had to refill this bottle of ink either. And all the time. And I mean, it hasn't been that long, but um, Qifrey takes it from her and he makes an excuse to take Coco back to the island with the stationery store, like, oh, we never did get you a wand. I do think it's cool they get there and the door's gone. The shop's closed for the day. So it's just a blank wall and nobody can get in.
I need that feature on my house. Like, sorry, nobody's home. There's no door.
Oh, but the little top boy comes up and lets him in. And we kind of find out a lot more about him. He's a recurring background character throughout the story from here. Um, he is a witch, on this island with all the witches, but he doesn't really do magic because he's um, got their equivalent of being colorblind. So Frank,
Yes.
you're up a shit creek here.
Yeah, I can relate to this kid.
Got the silver wash.
Everything he sees is washed in silver. So they're saying he can't really work. It's work magic very well. He's going to hit a wall. Um, but like all the inks in the store are certain colors and stuff, and he can't really see them, but he knows what each one of them is based on where they're at. Um, Qifrey goes up to talk to the dude that runs the store, trying to figure out what this ink is. Um, while they're while Coco's down talking to the boy. The guy has been trying to analyze the portal stone that took them to the Dragon Mage maze, and it's only been like a day or two, so he hasn't gotten very far. But he's looking at this ink and has no idea what it is. So Kiefer's just like, F it, let's just play with shit we don't understand, and draws a giant spell that looks like it blows the top off the entire building. But it just washes everything in light. So he just drew a little seal and that's it. And he's like, huh, I think I know what this is. And he grabs Coco and leaves. But then the little kid goes back up to talk to his grandpa and he's like, Grandpa, what was that flash of light? And he's like, what are you talking about? He's got no idea. So what's
Remember,
That
happening,
key,
Hassan?
that key free Men in Black then.
Yep. Kiefer ain't as clean and nice as we had thought.
no.
Yeah, we get like a little sinister side to him as well, where we don't know his motivations at this
We
point
kind of,
either. We know he's after
yeah,
something, but seems to be willing to do anything to get there.
he's after the Brim Caps, but we don't know why. And they
Right.
start alluding to they have done something to him or cost him something at some point. And that's why, I mean, I do think he cares for Coco, but I think that's why he's like adamant that she stay with him and he's kind of using her to figure out what's going on and not
Yeah.
turning her over to, the powers that be. Um, we do get a couple more chapters of just here's how magic works. I do think there is a good page in here. Brian alluded to maps. There's a map of the continent that shows all the tests that a witch has to go through.
Hmm.
And I kind of feel like this is laying out the overall story arc of this entire series just on this page.
Mhm.
Because we get the first test, which was the consent of the crown, where Coco had to get the flower on top of the Dado range. Then we start to see, we get names for all the others. The second one is permission to cast spells in public, and that is the test, the sincerity of the shield. And that's the one that Agott has just been approved to take. And then the next one is the query of Qui, and that's approval to attempt the librarian's trial. And that's the one Coco needs because her whole point is to get into the librarian's tower to find the grimoire with the spell that did that to her mother. And then there's a fourth and a fifth test. The fourth is the goodwill of her grace, and the fifth is the words of the wise. Fourth lets you graduate from your teacher's side, and then fifth lets you take on apprentices. And they said most of the witches only go to three or four. So we know Coco's got to at least get through test three before all of this is said and done. Um, Rishi and Tita don't really care too much about the tests, but Agott's all about it, and we know Coco has got to get through test three at least. Um, but they use all these interstitials to kind of tell more about the world. Um, I do love this like nightmare Coco has though, just the
Yes.
art on it.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Awesome, why don't you talk about it? You've been silent a lot.
I mean, this is one of the coolest pieces, I think, because, first of all, it's all dark. It's black and white, honestly, but it's like generally everything is bright. Even at night, it seems bright. But here, the way the inks are, it's very dark. And Agott is in her dream, a nightmare, more like it. And what I like about it is, I feel like it's just Coco seems very confident, but in this nightmare, it seems like no, she's not. It's just a mirage, and inside she's not confident at all. And here, Agott is totally let's call it a bitch, call her an ignorant outsider, and just like you just put us in danger. It's like she's acting like not even human, so mean to her. And there's this like it's not a whole splash page, I guess it is, where Coco's flying out and she's really scared. And it's just a really cool uh, episode on dealing, making Coco. You realize that Coco has fear. And it's not all fun and games for her. So no, and again, I might have to get the deluxe edition of this thing because the art is fantastic.
Yeah, I love how the page she's with the nightmare, that's the full page. It still has, it's her on the full page, but in the background it has parts of her dream. She's running through the Dada range as it's breaking up around her, but she's running into the ocean. And then the next page, she appears to be drowning, but it zooms out and she's drowning in that ink bottle that she had. And then the brim cap is taunting her on the other side and tosses the bottle and it breaks as she wakes up. And she's screaming. Um, from this point on, she gets really obsessed and doesn't sleep for days.
I will
Ash,
say all of this stuff too gives me like a Vertigo vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do know that Shirahama, has done covers for American comic books and is I don't know if they have read Vertigo comics, but this stuff really feels like it and looks like it.
uh, Coco, from this point on, gets obsessed with spell work for a little while, trying to improve, but she goes days without sleeping. In the background, Qifrey is investigating that bottle of ink. I do like he goes to this random room or tower in the atelier, and it has a. I want to see this part animated because I think it'll look so much better because it's a little hard to follow in the on the page here. But he goes through an archway and there's a door in it, and he grabs a piece of paper and he rubs it across the door, and it pulls all the stone into and seals the entire room. But it's kind of hard to tell that's what he's done just with the two panels that he does it in. But I do think it's cool. And he pulls out that ink bottle and starts experimenting with it. Um, but once he figures out what it is, we kind of get a history of how things were before the witches had the rules that they have. And this is where I go with the healing stuff. The spell that's on this bottle was actually used by healers. Um, there's a seal in it that pairs it with another bottle, and whatever's poured into that bottle, half of it goes into this one. And magician healers would use it to put medicine in to cure people. And now it's being used wrongly, but it's a lost magic. Once magic to that was used on people like that was banned, all the healing magic arts went away, and nobody knows how to do this anymore. And Kiefer tries to fish it out of there, but he gets caught by the brim hat. Um, and I want to see this part animated too, because the bottle pretty well attacks him. All the water, all the ink in it flows out, and I'm assuming water is attacking him, that the brim cap's pouring in there, and it floods the entire tower. And then somehow the brim cap appears in the tower right above him and snatches up the bottle with the seal in it and
Yeah.
crushes it right in front of him.
You see that scene, I think the way I interpreted the water trap he gets caught in was because this ink is like way more potent than it's supposed to be. Like when Coco used the spell the first time and it dried up the whole river. When Keyfrey sees that his water spell touches the ink is when it takes off. So it's like it amplified the magic he was doing with the water, and it took off and he almost drowned himself with his own spell. And then the brim hat can tell he was tampering with the bottle, and that's when he got hijacked. But I mean, it could go either way. Either that was a trap in the bottle or his magic set it off. But it's such a cool sequence of events when that brim cap shows up.
Yeah, and the brim caps teleport, which the other witches aren't supposed to do, because remember they're supposed to go through the portals and
Yeah.
stuff. And that's one. thing that they're doing that the other witches aren't supposed to. Um, the Brimmed Cap goes back to their little rock and is like, after all the trouble to see it into the hands of the child, what a waste. You know, the whole dragon trap thing was to get that bottle in Coco's possession, and now it's now it's gone. It didn't last very
Hmm.
long. Again, Coco starts getting sick at this point. She does repair those slip shoes for Agott, but Coco passes out, and Qifrey panics and takes her to the village to the healers because witches don't do healing magic.
They don't
Uh,
have talent there
Sorry,
anyway.
kid. You're just gonna suffer.
yeah, you're gonna die of a cold. But he gets to the town, and the healers start helping her. He does kind of cool off the room with his magic, his water magic, and one of the healers comes and is like, I know you witches can't heal people, but this would be very useful in our practice. And Kiefer's like, huh, maybe I can leave a spell with you. He refuses to leave Coco's side though, but then there's a massive fire, and they demand he go help. And the little boy from the shop, what is his name, y'all? I cannot remember.
Harda.
Tarta.
Tarda is actually there in the town. He misses the boat going back to the island where the witches are. Um, and he's trying to help Coco because she's getting sicker, and we get a whole thing about him not being able to see what the medicines are. And they start experimenting with magic. He uses Coco actually creates a spell on her own without realizing it that kind of reverses what it kind of reverse dehydrates some stuff and takes all these bottles of potions back to their raw elements and stuff, and it's kind of crazy. Um, but he eventually finds he's about to give her the medicine, and a nurse comes up and is like, "Don't give this girl medicine. You don't know what it is. You can make it worse. Even if we've given her medicine, you can make it worse, even if it's the right one." Well, it was the right one. Um, but Coco just basically pretty well spends the night there while Kiefer's putting out fires. Um,
Reluctantly putting out fires. He really did not want to
yes,
help that poor dude and his burnt up drunk buddy.
Yes.
yeah.
He's like, do I
Well,
have to?
the little boy wanted to talk to Kiefer about something. He wanted to ask what the light was, and ends up not doing it, which is probably for the best because Kiefer just Men in Black him too, probably.
Yeah, he was
Hmm.
suspicious because Master Del Noah got mind wiped and he knew he'd seen it.
Well, they go back to the atelier, and then we get at the end of this a little cut scene with the brim cap again, and another one is coming up to the only one we've seen so far. And it's like, I understand your gift didn't work out as planned. Um, and it's like, we can't sit idle. We must continue to act. And the one we know is like, then I suppose you, the very embodiment of forbidden magic, intend to take the next move. And you're like, that's very ominous. But you flip the page, and it's the last page of the book, and it's like a three-quarter page spread. This brim cap has no body. It is a
Yes.
floating cape with a collar and a hat. And I'm like, yeah, that's the embodiment of forbidden magic. There's no body there.
Straight up magic.
Yeah. Um, and he says, when the apprentices leave their teacher's protection to take the next test, we shall have an opportunity we cannot afford to miss. And it's very ominous because it cuts to Coco and the guy um, at the bottom of the page. Like, next time they take a test, we're going to fuck with them. That's pretty well what it was. And
And
notice he
Brush
says,
Buddy.
yeah, and Brush Buddy. And notice he says when the apprentices, not when Coco, because the one was just focused on Coco, and this one's like all of them. So
Yeah.
it's getting a little dark. And I will say, I do love the next test. I like the next volume or two. I can't remember how long it takes, but Hassan, it just gets better from here.
I'm very happy to hear that. I like it. Now in the brim caps. Do we get was it Oko from He-Man as eventually?
Orko,
Yes,
oh, that one
Orko.
is a little Orko, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Floating cape.
I
Orko
was
was
thinking
The first Brimmed Cap. Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking about that when I saw that. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's funny because I was going to back up to that exact page, just as kind of like I think it's a super cool like cinematic page, but literally the first thing you see is Orko. Like when you see that page, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Orko doing battle with a crazy magic sword. Yeah, it's a cool ass page. I mean, it's like kind of very Art Nouveau in design.
Uh,
That's a
that's
cool
that.
little origin story for that bottle.
I do think the designs are cool, but yeah, I thought Oko immediately.
That's funny.
I do love all the brim caps are completely different. Like the witches themselves just look, I don't want to say they look generic. They all have their own hat design.
They look
Um,
generic. They look
but
generic.
they are very close together, and these brim caps are very, each one that we see and meet is very, very unique.
It reminds me of the elves in Lord of the Rings, where they all look alike too much, and you're like, okay,
Very
yeah,
uniform.
very uniform, yeah.
Well, wait till
But
we
I,
get to Silver Knight, Hassan.
but I think it makes sense because they are. I mean, not to be. I know that they're the good guys, but they are bland because they're all uniform. To your point, Frank, they have to conform to society, so they're not going to look that different, except for the one that's part time working at Clerks at the Stop and Go, the
Over
Stop and
Diego.
Go.
He's on the
Overview.
cover of volume 6, and I'm looking at all 14 volumes here, and his outfit and then one on the Knights Moralis look really cool with color. They're crimson red outfits. Um, and then I can't remember who this is on volume 10. She looks very, very cotton candy like, but for the most part, they all look very uniform, like Hassan said.
It's an interesting concept when you think about like the uniformity of the world she's putting together here, because I think she kind of gets caught in her own rules a few times with in this volume, especially. Is it like they're very rigid rules of how magic is used. Like everybody said, you can't use it on people, you can't heal anybody, and they've got to follow all the rules. And the minute you break one, you get your mind wiped and you're done. You're out. But there's like, and I know there's story devices in this issue, but it's very funny. Like, you know, Qifrey walks in and he basically just creates a humidifier in the room. He just like pumps some moisture in there and like, this is incredible. Why did we never think of this before? He's been using magic a while. Like, you're not using it to at least help people. What the hell are you doing it
Yeah.
for? Just to make crazy devices. And then, with poor little Tarta and his silver wash, they go through this elaborate process of reconstituting all the herbs. And I'm like, why don't you guys just magic up some glasses that fix his eyes?
That's literally what I was thinking. Make some of those colorblind glasses.
Yeah. Old Rugio's the contraption expert. Like, have that kid whip something up. So just strikes me as funny as you go on.
All right. Well, I'm excited for volumes 4 and 5 where we get the tests. So um not gonna spoil it, but they're fun books.
I've
All right.
already pre-ordered Grimoire
Grimoire
2,
2.
Yeah.
That
which
comes out
comes
this
out
fall, doesn't it?
August 4th,
August.
Yeah.
and Volume 3 comes out in November.
Sweet.
They're pumping them out.
They're
All
nice.
righty. Well, Frank, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, it was
Yeah. Thanks
awesome.
for having me, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I love this book. It's fun.
We'll have you back next month. Um, Hassan, well, we're all over the place on the schedule. Do you know what we're doing next?
Yes. No.
I
Yes.
think we talked about it like
Yes. No. No.
yesterday or
For
today. It's already
no.
Wiped.
From a release schedule, Top of the Stack comes out next.
okay. All right. Yeah. So here, join us next week. Hear what we're currently reading. Um, all right. Well, Hassan, where can they find us? Everywhere.
Well, you can find us if you remember. uh, no, there's no spell that make you forget. You can find us on all social media platforms. Follow us on Comics Discourse 114, including TikTok. I've been posting some videos there. Also, if you like to talk about any of our episodes, you can leave us a comment. Just send us an email at comicsdiscourse114@gmail.com. And please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All right, everybody. We'll Catch you next week. Have a good one.
See ya.